Hey everybody, my name is Matt at Buddy Greg RVs and Motorhomes in Knoxville, Tennessee. Wanted to talk a little bit today, share a little bit of information on the types of RVs. And when I say type, what do I mean? I mean these classifications right here. I'm on buddygreg.com, BUDDYGREGG.com. And I'm sharing this information in hopes that maybe it helps you open up a dialogue with your sales professional or with your family and loved ones on what kind of RV you might be interested in. So we're talking about types. We're going to go over these types and a little bit about what the differences are, and we're going to go outside and show you some examples. But just to get us started, Class A. Class A motorhome is going to be motorized. It can be gas or diesel. And generally speaking, what a Class A means is that the entire box, the part you live in and drive in, has been set down onto a separate frame. Something like a Freightliner, a Spartan, or maybe a Ford F53 chassis. When you move down into B's and C's, those are the ones that look like they have a manufacturer front end, like a Ford E-Van or a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. But a Class B, the living area will be completely contained in the traditional manufacturer walls, right? So it looks like you're literally living inside of a Mercedes Sprinter van. When you go up to a C, that living quarters is removed, the outer shell is removed, and a separate box is set down onto the frame. And that's how you tell a Class B or a Class C. And we'll round it out with a discussion of travel trailers, including fifth wheels, a traditional travel trailer, as well as a brief discussion of park or destination model trailer. And we'll also throw in toy haulers there. Toy haulers, though, is just another word for a fifth wheel or a travel trailer with a flex zone or a flex living zone or a garage. So I hope you all get some great information. Maybe it helps open a dialogue with your sales professional, and you can always feel free to give us a shout with any questions that you have. Let's head outside. Thank you for joining us here today. It's a lovely afternoon here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Talking a little bit today about the different types of RVs. We're going to go through A's, B's, C's. We're going to talk about fifth wheels and travel trailers, and we'll wind up talking a little bit about a park or destination trailer. Now, generally speaking, on your motorized units, it's not just the engine and it's not just the frame and it's not just the box that make up or decide what type of an RV it is. It's some combination of all three of those factors. Here we are looking at a brand new Georgetown GT3. This is a Class A motorhome. It sits on an F53 chassis made by Ford, but the key here is that the entire box is placed down onto that frame, right? And what do I mean by box? Well, in this case, I mean everything from the windshield to the walls. And what you're going to see when we move on to the Class B or Class C next, which is a Winnebago, is the front end of that Class C is from the manufacturer. It looks like the vehicle that you would drive down the road. Something like this right here. This is a Class C. You have a box on an F53 frame. They're the same frame, but the front end, that came right off the manufacturer's line. Whereas this has been completely built by Forest River. And there's pluses and minuses to each of them. You know, typically it's going to be the amount of features that you can cram in and the benefits that you get from it. But this is a Class A motorhome, and what you'll see next is how we differentiate that a little bit more between a Class C and a Class B. Thanks so much for joining us, and hang in there. Hey folks, we've talked a little bit about motorized. We're going to move over to the travel trailer segment. In the travel trailer segment, you've got a few different types. A fifth wheel, a traditional travel trailer, a fifth wheel toy hauler, a travel trailer toy hauler, and then also a park or destination model, which we'll cover that at the end. Not to oversimplify, but a travel trailer, whether it be a fifth wheel or a traditional travel trailer, are exactly that. They're a trailer. They're going to sit on a steel frame. And that's the major characteristics of a travel trailer. It sits on a frame that is towed behind a truck. But getting into a little bit of the differences here we obviously have a fifth wheel. So this will attach to the fifth wheel hitch in the bed of your truck, similar to a gooseneck, but a little bit different. Whereas a regular travel trailer will connect to your ball, your trailer ball coming out of your bumper hitch. One thing that's very important about travel trailers is to look a little bit about the construction and the features of your frame, because they are the most important thing. The biggest factor in having a great time in your RV is having a safe time in your RV, and different components do different things. For instance, on this fifth wheel here, this has a drop or a Z frame. It sits lower. Mr. Beeler, you can probably see if you compare it to the one right next door. Now, that drop or Z frame, allows you for greater storage down below. It also sometimes opens up this area up here so that you can do some different configurations. Now, included on this hardware, you're going to want to look at the chassis. What's it made out of? Steel. Is it an I-beam? How thick is it? Is it a C-channel? And moving on back, what connects your chassis to the road, which this is where a lot of manufacturers, not Forest River, not Cruiser, not the ones that we sell here at Buddy Gregg RVs, but some of them will skimp on your tires, your rims, and your suspension components. Take a look at those, and if you have any questions, give us a call. We're going to scoot right over here just to kind of highlight the difference between a fifth wheel trailer and a regular travel trailer. As you can see, this is going to have a traditional bumper pull down here, and your frame's a little bit different. But all the rules still apply. Take a look at your axles. Take a look at where your hitch is going to connect to your truck. All that stuff is important because it's what gets your camper and your family to your destination for some recreation. Just to talk briefly about what sets off a fifth wheel toy hauler or a travel trailer toy hauler from the rest of the pack. Obviously, it's this flex room, or what you might call a garage. It's not just to be used for a garage or putting motorcycles or razors or side-by-sides up there. Obviously, a lot of people do use that, but this room is really versatile. But this is how you tell a toy hauler version, is it's got a giant garage door. Now, a couple nice things besides the added versatility of your flex room or your garage, just for using it for whatever the family needs to do, you also usually get a separate gas tank. That way you can fill up your toys when you need them. And then I also want you to pay attention to your ramp. Not only does the size of your garage dictate what you can hold, but the level at which and the angle at which your ramp folds down determines a little bit about what you can get up in there, right? So a steeper ramp, you're gonna bottom out. Whereas if you have a nice dovetail, this has a nice dovetail here in the back and goes into a nice, easy to load ramp. Boy, if we were thinking, we would have demoed this for you. But pay attention to these when you're looking at your toy haulers, because it really does make all the difference in the world when it comes to getting your family out and enjoying the great outdoors. Lastly, I want to talk real quick about a park model. Some people call them a destination trailer, a park model, something along those lines. This is not as extreme of an example as what you might see, but generally speaking, a park or destination trailer is going to look a little bit more like a traditional single-wide mobile home. And what you get with that is a little bit larger, a more expansive kind of living room, a more open floor plan. It also looks a little bit more residential. Like I said, this isn't as extreme. I've seen ones that are called park models where literally this front area is like a giant sliding glass door window, like you'd have going out onto your back patio, and then some of the windows get a little larger. If you can see, I know this is someone else's, but down the side you have a little bit larger windows to give it that more residential feel. Typically what you're going to want to be using these models for is longer duration of stay, but there's something very important I want you to keep in mind. They are longer and they are wider, which means they are harder to tow behind a standard truck. And it's not a weight issue, okay? This is a size issue. When you have a longer trailer that is a little bit maybe not so aerodynamically shaped, the wind gusts can catch it. They're harder to move in and out, and that's because they are made to be more of a destination type of trailer. And that kind of concludes the wrap up of the different models and the types of RVs. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned a little bit. Always give us a shout here at Buddy Gregg RVs and Motorhomes in Knoxville, Tennessee. Thank you so much. Have a great day, unless you have other plans.